Hey everybody, I'm Jonathan. I'm very glad to be here. It's an honor to have been invited to this meeting. I know that some of the women in this room impact what goes on in the state of Louisiana, and so I hope that my message is well received, so thank you again. I was a teacher. I did get fired. I didn't plan on any of that to happen. That was not the goal. I thought I would work, be a Spanish teacher, be like my Spanish teacher. The plan was to save up, buy a second house, buy a third house, just keep buying houses, work in the summer, have a basic life, have all the holidays off. That changed very quickly. As soon as I saw things that I didn't agree with in the school system, believe it or not, in Louisiana, just like in California, we have problems with rogue liberal teachers that push their own agendas in the school system. They take their class time to become liberal activists. So you'll have one teacher that will promote the idea that communism is a good form of government, and that woman will keep her job after being brought up in meetings and parents complaining and the children testifying that this is what's going on in class. She'll even put up a defund the police poster, or another teacher signs a pledge pledging her allegiance to teach critical race theory at all costs, exposed in a news article by Daily Wire. So these teachers all get to keep their jobs. They all still are working to this day. In fact, the ones that I'm referencing actually work at the school that I used to work at. And it's not news to the school board or the superintendent or to the parents of the community. However, I got sick of it. First year in the job, I started teaching in Chalmette. I want to say it was the end of 2018, and then I finally got a job where I live in St. Tammany Parish. And my first year on the job, I said, hey, I don't really want to stir things up because I'm new. But it has to happen. Somebody's got to do it, because if you don't speak up, the nastiness just continues, and it's disgusting. So I called out the CRT. I actually showed a video of a program that we were paying for children in elementary and middle school called Brain Pop. And they were promoting the idea that all the police were racist. While we have a black cop at the meeting, we're watching this video that says cops are out to get black people. And I'm like, guys, this guy was a cop when I was in high school. He is not out to get black people. This is ridiculous. Then I just said, you guys got to pick. How many genders are there? Because anatomy tells us there's only 2 genders. And if I asked you in this room, how many genders are there, what would you say? 2. It's not a hard question. It's really not. Of course, this video of my first, or maybe it was my second speech at a school board meeting, did go viral. 10 million views in less than 48 hours just on somebody that posted it on TikTok. That's not including Instagram, YouTube, Snapchat, all the other channels, media outlets that shared it. Just one place got 10 million views in less than 48 hours and was shared all across the internet. People in Los Angeles, Canada, Mexico, Australia, New Zealand were all talking about it. And it changed my life forever, because when I tried to apply for work after being fired, of course, if you search my name, that's what pops up, all the news articles pop up, so it's been a little different. But I'm just not gonna put up with that kind of nonsense, so I'd do it again. What I learned from this was that it amazes me the type of impact you and I can have when we decide to be different and to do something that no one else is willing to do. I never once would have thought that me as a teacher would impact the country at the beginning of people are just finding out about critical race theory. People are just finding out that these teachers are turning kids into transsexuals at a young age. And I just opened my mouth. I said, this is not okay. And it just, like a wave, just took off. It was really unbelievable. I never would have thought that. You know, I didn't think I would lose my job. I thought that I would be respected in St. Tammany Parish. First Amendment right, freedom of speech, majority of the people are conservative, but, you know, I was wrong. I got fired over it. But the good thing is that your First Amendment right is protected by the U.S. Constitution, and I'm suing them in federal court, and they're going to pay. They're going to pay. And as a result of all this happening, so many parents have gotten involved in their children's education. I mean, the phone at the school board is ringing off the hook. Anytime I post something, like, hey, I heard there's a teacher, look at this worksheet. It says, what's your pronoun? 400 parents are calling the school board. And which is why they hate me so much. I mean, they actually have to work now. Like, God forbid you have to work. And of course, the parents have gotten involved. There's been a lot of community activism happening. There's been a lot of local grassroots groups. And I've just had an opportunity to continue opening my mouth and showing up. I realized that if I just show up and open my mouth, people listen, and sometimes they say, well, you know what, if that guy did it, I can do it. I mean, guys, look, I'm not going to tell you to do anything that I haven't done myself, which was literally put what I thought was a career on the line, but it's totally worth it. I've had opportunities to travel America. I've gone with a good friend of mine, Eddie James, almost all over, let's say from Texas all the way to New York, Florida, that whole area, Chicago. And you might have heard of Eddie James when Sean Feucht, if you heard of the Let Us Worship events that took place, they had one in New Orleans, which was the first time I was on TV. I was telling LaToya, it's my body, my choice with the mask. And that, they had people calling trying to get me fired there. And I held my ground, and it was okay, I didn't get fired at that point. But I've been traveling the country with Eddie. Tomorrow I'm going to California for a Turning Point event. So this has really opened up a lot of opportunity for me. And I want to continue inspiring people to just show up and be brave, because that's what we need. We don't need classic politicians. And look, I have so many suits. I go to Joseph A. Banks, I'll go to Dillard's, wherever I can get a good suit at. But I said, I wanted to wear this shirt today that says Big Up Sucks. It's a little radical, but it's different. Because it gives you a little different message. It lightens the mood. It just, you can talk for that. It's okay. But we don't need more of the typical politicians. The reason 1 million Democrats have switched to the Republican Party is not because the GOP is so brilliant and has been on the cutting edge of marketing and advertising. That's not why 1 million Democrats have switched to the Republican Party. It has been local individuals making a difference in their communities, moms, dads, people like myself, even some other teachers, pastors. Has anyone in this room heard of Tony Spell out of Baton Rouge? Can you raise your hand if you've heard of him?
Yeah.
So, okay, for those who haven't, he was one of the only pastors in America who did not shut down his church during COVID. He was arrested over 30 times by John Bell Edwards. FBI's at his church. He gets a house arrest bracelet, and he ends up suing the governor. He has criminal charges, going to face a life sentence because he wouldn't close his church during COVID. They painted him as a racist evangelical in his church. He's got a majority black church. It blows my mind how this happened, because he's got a country accent. Well, he sues the governor, gets all of his charges dropped, and now he's suing everybody as an individual, so there's no telling what's going to go down with this. But that's what we need more of. We need more of that. And it's not coming from your typical political leaders. It's really not. And there have been some instances of bravery I'm going to point out, because as much as I don't like most of our politicians, there have been some really great, memorable moments. I'm going to go back to when the BP oil spill happened. The media, the president, Obama, everybody said there's no oil in the marsh. And then what happens? Billy Nungesser goes out there with a camera crew and he says, there's oil right here. Of course, the next day we never heard from him again, but he did a very brave action that I just wish we would see so much more of that. And then Jeff Landry, every day you hear his name on the news, he's suing Joe Biden over something new. So we need these kind of crazy moves. That's what we need. So I'm gonna close this out with, what can we do? All of us, because we play a part. And as much as you can donate money, I think there's something to say. When Trump ran for president, I want to say he spent less than most people would have ever spent on a presidential campaign. He was creative. He did something different. I mean, he opened his mouth a lot. I think people really like that. That's part of it. But we have to stop helping weak politicians, and when they start acting weak, we need to hold them accountable and call them out. I heard of a women's Republican club that maybe got a slap on the wrist because they called out a fellow Republican man who used to be a doctor that was been very weak. And they called it my name. We should not be punished for holding our leaders accountable. That's silly. We need to partner with people who are actually on the ground and making a difference. Partner with people who have real potential and that are actually already doing something. Give those people your money. That's what we really need to do. And then show up. It's so important to just show up and speak. You don't even know what to say. Just show up and say, hey, I'm here. I'm a concerned citizen. I don't like what you're doing. You're lazy. And then you can, all right, I'm finished. Thank you. That's good enough. City council, parish council, what are some other things? Senate committee hearings. Any one of you can show up. There's time to speak. You just show up. That's all you have to do. I used to think you had to be invited. And then after I went, I said, oh, I don't even need an invite. I can just keep coming and coming and coming. And if they kick me out, then I can probably file a lawsuit because I've already done that once. So I just, it gets difficult because you see the big picture that maybe we're not making an impact, but just again to remind you, 1 million Democrats switched over. And young people are beginning to question. The culture war is being won in a non-conventional way, and there are positive things happening. And I mean, it is so easy to get discouraged, but I'll leave you with this. It's Galatians 6:9, and it says, let us not grow weary of doing good, for in due season we will reap if we don't give up. So I just want to encourage you, don't give up, be brave and be courageous.